I want to get to also August 7th, a director who we are hoping to get on the show sometime soon, which is David Ayer, and he has a new movie coming out called The Tax Collector. Tax Collector, I thought was, I'm not gonna say really good. I thought it was good. I liked it. I liked where it was going. I liked the characters. I probably liked the characters a little bit more than I liked the overall story. And it's similar to what David Ayer has done in the past, but also different. I say it's similar because it's set in the world of Los Angeles crime, specifically Latina gangs. It introduces this character, and this is where I found to be the most interesting, played by Bobby Soto, who is a full-blown family man, husband, father, and the movie spends a lot of time with him in that element. And then he gets together with his friend, who's played by Shia LaBeouf, and the two of them go out for their job, and their job is just to collect money from the various gangs, the drug dealing gangs and the crime gangs, and take their cut of the money that they're owed, essentially. And you just see some horrifically violent, intimidating stuff from them when they're out in the road. And then this guy has to come back home and sort of balance that life as a career criminal. And of course, you know, for the dramatic effect, there's competition that comes in, and how can he protect his family, and how can Shia sort of stand up for him. And Kev, you watched it, right?
I did, yeah.
I thought it really found its gear after like 40 minutes. Yeah. It took me a little while to figure out what it was, and then and then the back half of it seemed to really take off for me.
I mean, you bring up an interesting thing. To me, I loved the first 40 minutes.
Oh, really?
Because to me, I like the juxtaposition between a guy waking up in his house with his family and just a very seemingly quote-unquote normal lifestyle. And then, because the entire first 40 minutes of the film is just one day. And so he leaves his house, and then you get to go on this journey through his other world, which is just extremely fascinating because they're so completely the opposite. And then as the film kind of comes into its own, you realize that his home life is still connected somehow to his street life. And I mean, Bobby Soto, I thought, like, he played the character with such an interesting vulnerability, yet a very severe intensity. That's a really hard balance to find because the guy is very, he's very understanding, right? The character is very understanding in a world where not a lot of people are understanding. Mm-hmm. And he just found that I don't know, that vibe to me was really well done. And Shia LaBeouf was completely unrecognizable. I mean, his ears, did he have like MMA ears or something like that? Did you notice like
they did look swollen? Yeah.
It was like you ever see like an MMA fighter who, I don't know what it's called, but like their ears are like cauliflower. Yeah, and like yep. I wanted to ask David Ayer why the choice of that, because Shia's ears aren't like that in real life, right?
No. They look put on.
So I was just interested to know, like, clearly there was some backstory given there. Shia LaBeouf's character in Tax Collector is a very interesting character because there's really no arc for him. He's just him straight through. That's a really tough thing to do as an actor, not give yourself an arc in an 1.5 hour long film, because basically this guy knows exactly who he is and he's ready to go out whenever he's ready to go out. That he says that in the trailer. He goes, I'm ready. He said, basically, he's like, I'm ready to die. I'm here to do what I need to do, and when I die, it's my turn to go. And I felt like that was a really interesting character to play because there's really no emotional range for him. He's just this guy, and it's very dark, very violent, very brutal.
Dude, it's one of the most brutal
violent
films.
As all hell. Yeah,
I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Did you get the impression that Ayer was a little bit freed up from maybe like knowing it wasn't going to go to theaters? Because it is vicious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question because it is very violent. It's like, Training Day had its moments. And I know that was Fuqua and then Ayer wrote it, but it's nasty, like really gory, like very brutal. Like imagine the gore you saw in that show, The Boys, but in a very serious tone.
Oh, wow.
Like drama. Like the violence is that explosive, like that gross, that like loud and nasty, but in the midst of a drama versus a boys show where it's a little bit more on the comedic side / drama, it really hits you harder, the violence, because it's so much more brutal.
And the one thing Tax Collector did for me also is it made it feel like crime and the threat of crime is only like one step removed from wherever you are in Los Angeles. Like, it almost felt like it had permeated every aspect of the city, where there's almost like no safe place you could go. And I kind of wonder if that's how other cities are also, where, you know, you often say like, oh, there's a certain area of the city where you probably shouldn't go to because it's crime ridden or it has a lot of problems.
Certain area?
Certain David Ayers. I don't know. I just got the sense that in Tax Collector, the crime had seeped into almost every level of Los Angeles. And so I do hope we get him on the show, because I would love to talk in depth about Tax Collector. But,
and also, people who haven't seen End of Watch, highly recommend End of Watch. Obviously, his amazing script for Training Day. I mean, he is Fury was fantastic.
Fury with the
I think Shia's performance in this film was the one that really I thought Bobby Soto was great though. I thought he was fantastic.
He is really good.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because David Ayer's getting a lot of heat because people think Shia's the lead, and they're saying, you know, hey, as a filmmaker, you have an opportunity to cast a person of color in your lead. And David Ayer's like, I did. Like, Bobby Soto is the lead, and Shia actually plays like there's a type of person in Los Angeles that was born white but grew up around Latina gangs and almost emulates them to a certain extent. And there's a term for it that David Ayer uses all the time. And David Ayer's like, Shia is not pretending to be, he's not playing a Spanish character or a Mexican character. He's a gringo, he calls him. He's a gringo who just has been around gangbangers all his life.
He's a product of his environment. He is what he grew up in. Like, and it's a really interesting point that you say that, because I when the film first started, I said to myself, "Oh my gosh, is Shia LaBeouf going to get in trouble for this character?" Yeah. And it's quickly understood that he grew up in an environment that's who he is. He just that's how he speaks. That's how he gets around. And it's a very interesting point, because I was a little concerned. I was like, are they going to go after Shia LaBeouf for this? Because that's the point of the character. He just was raised there.
It's definitely worth seeing just for the character work alone. I would say check it out.